Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today's topic is Jordan Peterson's interview with Piers Morgan. So recently Jordan Peterson had an interview with Piers Morgan and this is what happened.
Quickly, the film director Olivia Wilde has a new movie out, which she says is based on you, this insane man, this pseudo-intellectual hero to the incel community. Incel being these weirdo loner men who are despicable in many ways. Is that you? Are you the intellectual hero to these people?
Sure. Why not? People have been after me for a long time because I've been speaking to disaffected young men. What a terrible thing to do that is. I thought the marginalized were supposed to have a voice.
It's making you emotional. Talk about that.
Well, God, it's very difficult to understand how demoralized people are. And certainly many young men are in that category. And you get these casual insults, these incels. What does it mean? It's like, well, these men, they don't know how to make themselves attractive to women who are very picky, and good for them. Women, be picky. That's your gift, man. Demand high standards from your men. Fair enough. But all these men who are alienated, it's like they're lonesome and they don't know what to do.
So since then, social media has taken it upon themselves to mock and to tease Jordan Peterson for the fact that he cried during this interview. And I feel like this just emphasizes the hypocrisy that exists within our society. People will mock and tease Jordan Peterson for crying, and I'll share with you some of the comments that people said on Twitter. Obviously it was on Twitter, where else? So one user said, "Does Jordan Peterson take estrogen? I can't imagine someone who purports to have so much testosterone crying this often scientifically." Someone else said, "Is anyone else sick of seeing Jordan Peterson crying on TV every day? It's ridiculous. The right wing thinks he's an expert in mental health. This guy is nuts." And then one other user said, "I'll tell you something that's not so funny. Right now, Jordan Peterson is at home crying like a little girl." Now, naturally, you'd understand why I found this to be very confusing, because we're also a society that simultaneously says things like this.
Because I just think this toxic masculinity that, this stiff upper lip is really damaging. What are we telling boys? And then when you look at rates, it's become an epidemic. This is dangerous discourse, really, I would say.
All it does is just highlight the hypocrisy that exists within our society. People will preach all day about how bad toxic masculinity is and how men should be more in touch with their emotions and should be more in touch with their sensitive side. But because you disagree with a man's politics, you think he's free game for you to mock and ridicule and call him a little girl, or say that you think he's taking estrogen. And so basically reinforcing the same gender stereotypes that you claim to be working so hard to fight against. But this isn't a surprise to me, because I've seen this kind of thing over and over again. These are the same people who will say things like, we need to uplift the voices of black women, unless of course that black woman is someone like Candace Owens. It's all about screaming about representation and how we need to have black voices, unless those black voices are conservative. Then you can call them a coon and Uncle Tom and every racial slur you want to, because they disagree with your politics, so now they're free game. These are also the same people who say that they stand for trans people and believe in trans rights, unless of course that trans person is, say, a Blair White or a Buck Angel or a Caitlyn Jenner or anyone who doesn't agree with their agenda. The same people who say that we need to have more women in charge because that would be better for societies, while simultaneously being adamantly against the woman who's about to become the Prime Minister of Italy because she believes in more conservative values. So all of this tells me that the people who claim to care so much about women or ethnic minorities or LGBT people or men's mental health don't really truly care about that, because they're not very consistent. Because if you truly cared about these issues, then you should just care about the issues. Why do you only care about those issues when that person adheres to your ideology and your political perspective? Because the moment they don't agree with your political perspectives, then they're free game. Like, you can disagree with Jordan Peterson and what he says or his politics and stuff. That's absolutely fine. If you disagree with it and you have counter arguments for all the things that he says, that's fine. But it's just hilarious that the same people who claim to care so much about mental health and care so much about men fighting toxic masculinity and how men should feel more comfortable to express themselves emotionally and be able to cry, will use that same vulnerability against that man if he does something that they don't like. It's just so hypocritical, and I just can't take any of it seriously anymore. The same people who will terrorize you online are the same people who will put in their bio #BeKind, or the same people who will say racial slurs against black conservatives are also the same people who put #BLM in their bio. It's funny. It's funny. But yeah, but this was basically all I wanted to say. I'm just tired of people being full of shit. But yeah, but that's it for this little rant. I just think it's funny how people who seem to think they're the most virtuous or the most morally superior and are on the right side of history are the most toxic and most venomous people, especially on Twitter. But that's all for this video. I hope you're having a good weekend. If you enjoyed this little rant, then like and subscribe. Why not? Thank you very much for listening to me rant today, and I will see you on Wednesday.